All right, Kent, I've got a new 6 GT. We've got our brass. It's sized, ready to go. Comes down to powder selection. So how do you select powder for the 6 GT? What do you look for? What do you got to watch out for?
Right. So selection, there's a lot of choice. Again, it starts with what projectile you're going to use.
Okay, so on that end, I've got two options. I don't know what to pick. I've got 107 grain and I got 105 grain. Do you end up using them all?
You end up actually trying both of them. Even there's only 2 grains of difference in bullet weight. There's difference in shape.
Right.
And that might be quite a big deal as far as accuracy goes. So you'll end up using both of them.
Okay.
But you got to start somewhere.
Okay, so I think for this one, we're gonna go with the Nosler RDF. It's 105 grain because I've got a good buddy who actually gave me a formula for a load. It's 105 grain, so we're gonna start somewhere close in that range. So the 105 grain is our selection, and I went through the annual manual, and you guys do not have 105 grain in the manual.
Right, so the annual manual is a pared down representation of what we have on the HodgdonPowderCo.com website under the Reloading Data Center. There's much more data there, and I could see that you've gone there to print off some of that data.
I did. I went off and I printed it out, and actually it's a nice little selection and rundown of what all bullet offerings are there, because there was 15 plus bullets there. There were many that weren't even in the annual manual, so that was nice to be able to select 105 grain, and then I could select a number of different powders to kind of compare and contrast.
Right. So your listing there, we have several choices here, which is represented on the table.
Right.
So any of these 3 is going to work for what you're looking for.
So Varget was kind of the standard coming out for the 6 GT. That was kind of the powder that worked well overall, gave the guys the performance that they needed. Not as readily available though as some of these other on the table, which is the Stayball line, like the 6.5, which I reload 6.5 quite a bit. And honestly, this was a very close contender on what I wanted to use for the 6 GT. But then I was like, well, I have like 3 or 4 pounds of the match. Why don't I just use that? And you guys have it on the Reloading Data Center.
Right.
And so that's what we're gonna go with. We're gonna go with match, I think. So why does match work so well with cartridges like the 6 GT?
So where the consumer's been using Varget, and it's been working real well for them. Mm-hmm. The Stayball match is a similar burn speed to Varget.
Okay.
So you're gonna get very close performance. Mm-hmm. The temperature and sensitivity that Varget has is in the Stayball match. So extremes of heat and cold, it's gonna perform the same. So you're really close on what the 2 powders do. So it makes it easy. Where the 6.5 comes into play is slightly slower burn speed. Just the bullet may like that, the rifle may like that better for accuracy. But if Varget was working well, Stayball match should work equally well.
Perfect. All right, so we've got them ready to go. We've kind of selected a powder range about halfway in minimum and maximum recommendations, as it says on the data center. So we're gonna get these loaded up. I cannot wait to take this gun to the range, and we're gonna pick it up right there. But first, we gotta get this stuff loaded down.
All right, let's get to work.
All right. Got the gunshot, the 6 GT. I am absolutely impressed with what this round does. And the Stayball match is money. Now, I've got a lot to go, but these are my first shots through this gun. So this was my original aiming point with the overall cartridge length at what it says in the reloading manual. So the annual manual says 2.5 inches, so that's what I size my cases for. And then this is the group I got. Now this is a 10-shot group. So I shot 10 rounds, and then I went with the longer overall length to hit the rifling, and my aiming point was here. So I knew where I was gonna be, and it all dialed in fine. 5-shot group, I mean, I could cover them with a dime. So I'm very excited to see what the 6GT could do. Just remember, when you're sitting there selecting powders, sometimes it's about what you can get. Remember that. If Varget isn't available, stay ball match is an absolute home run.
To see all of Gun Talk's content, go to guntalk.com, guntalktv.com, or sign up for the Gun Talk newsletter.